Hi there, it's Josh, and I'm here at All Flutes Plus, and today in our Demystifying the Flute series, we are going to talk about how a 2-foot-long tube fits in a tiny case like this, and I'm going to tell you all about the different parts of the flute. The next part of the flute we're going to talk about is the body, which is the part of the flute that you actually hold on to, where 90% of the key work is. And the body, much like the head joint, consists of one long tube that has a bunch of other stuff stuck onto it. And in the case of the body, that's the keys. But there is also something called the barrel, which is where the piece that the head joint actually slides into, so it's sort of a telescoping mechanism. The barrel is a separate piece from the body that is soldered on, and there are rings that are soldered on to the barrel, which are primarily decorative in function. There have been flutes made without them. And then along the tube, which is of course full of holes that have been drilled into it, there are these long, flat plates called ribs that are soldered to the tube. And these ribs hold posts, these sort of little knobby things that you see at the end of the keys, which are soldered onto the ribs, which are soldered onto the body. And these posts hold what are called rods, which is quite self-explanatory, I think, these long things. And the rods hold the keys of the flute, the little things that cover the holes and move up and down. And if you look underneath the keys on the body of the flute, what you will see, they're usually yellow. You will see these sort of yellow soft discs, which we call pads. And these are what actually enables the keys to seal the holes in the body of the flute to produce the different pitches of the flute. The keys move up and down by the action of something we call springs. And if you look inside the rods of the flute, you'll see these tiny, tiny little, they almost look like sewing needles, and they are in fact called needle springs. Collectively, these rods and keys and posts are together called the mechanism of the flute. And on student level and intermediate level flutes, and even some handmade flutes, this mechanism is usually made of a lightweight nickel alloy that is then heavily plated in silver. And at the end of the body, you'll see there's a sort of a slightly narrower section of metal, which we call the tenon. And this is the part that the foot joint slides onto, and we'll talk about the foot joint next.